11 true, scary, stranger and stalker stories. True horror stories. The world can be a dark and scary place, and tonight we'll be diving deep into the shadows, exploring 11 terrifying tales of strangers with sinister intentions. These are true stories from people just like you and me, who found themselves face to face with the unknown. From unsettling encounters to chilling accounts of being watched, stalked and tormented, these stories will send shivers down your spine. So turn off the lights, grab a blanket, and prepare to be disturbed. Because tonight, we delve into the unsettling reality that danger can lurk around any corner, and sometimes the biggest threat comes from those we least expect. Chapter 1. The Man in the Window. A young woman living alone starts noticing strange occurrences around her apartment. Lights flicker, objects move, and she can't shake the feeling that she's being watched. One night, as she's getting ready for bed, she catches a glimpse of a man staring at her through the window. He vanishes before she can get a good look, but the fear lingers. She reports the incident to the police, but without any evidence, they're unable to do much. Finally, the security footage reveals the chilling truth. The man returns, always watching, always lurking in the shadows. Chapter 2. The Voice on the Line. Imagine answering a call, only to be met with chilling silence on the other end. This is how it began for one man, plagued by a series of eerie hang-up calls. At first, he dismisses them as pranks, but as the calls increase in frequency, a sense of unease creeps in. He tries everything to stop them, changing his number, blocking calls, but the mysterious caller always finds a way through. One day he picks up the phone to hear a voice, a raspy whisper that sends chills down his spine. The stalker is apprehended, but the experience leaves the man deeply shaken, his sense of security shattered. Chapter 3. The Gift Giver. A young college student begins receiving anonymous gifts, seemingly harmless at first. Flowers, chocolates, small tokens of affection. But as the gifts continue, they escalate in nature, becoming increasingly personal and unsettling. She receives a framed photograph of herself taken without her knowledge, followed by a handwritten note, the words a chilling echo of her deepest fears and desires. The gifts, once tokens of admiration, transform into ominous symbols of obsession. Fearful and alone, she confides in her friends, their concern growing with each passing day. Chapter 4. The Car That Followed Me Home. Driving home alone late one night, a woman notices a car following closely behind her. She tries to shake it off, changing lanes and even taking a detour, but the car remains, its headlights an unwavering presence. Her heart pounds, fear tightening in her stomach. As she approaches her neighborhood, the car behind her slows, matching her speed. It stops just behind her. Chapter 5. The Face in the Crowd. Have you ever felt an unsettling gaze upon you? For one man, this became a chilling reality. A face half hidden in a crowd, always there watching. He tries to dismiss it, but the dread grows. The fear becomes paralyzing, turning his life into a nightmare. Chapter 6. The Cyberstalker. In the digital age, where our lives are increasingly intertwined with the online world, a new breed of stalker has emerged, the cyberstalker. This is the story of a young woman who becomes the target of a relentless online harassment campaign. It begins subtly, with strange messages appearing on her social media accounts, followed by comments that are unsettlingly personal. Her initial amusement quickly turns to concern as the messages escalate, becoming increasingly threatening and invasive. She tries to block the perpetrator, but they always find a way back, creating new accounts, using different names, their presence a constant shadow in the digital realm. The line between the virtual and real world blurs as the harassment spills over into her offline life. Chapter 7. The Hitchhiker. On a desolate highway, a lone driver encounters a hitchhiker, their silhouette barely visible. He pulls over, offering a ride. An unsettling feeling washes over the driver. The stranger's eyes gleam with an unnatural intensity. The hitchhiker vanishes, leaving a lingering sense of dread. Chapter 8. The Neighbour. Moving into a new home can be an exciting time, filled with the promise of new beginnings, but for one family, the joy of settling into their new neighbourhood is short-lived. Their dream home turning into a nightmare as they realize their next-door neighbour harbours a dangerous obsession. It starts subtly. Odd behaviour, uncomfortable stares, strange gifts left on their doorstep. At first they try to ignore it, but the neighbour's behaviour becomes increasingly erratic and intrusive. They find their garbage rummaged through, personal belongings moved or missing, and unsettling messages scrawled on their car in the dead of night. Fear takes root, transforming their once peaceful home into a prison of paranoia. Chapter 9. The Stalker in the Shadows. Imagine walking home alone at night, the darkness pressing in around you, amplifying every sound, every shadow. This is the terrifying reality for one young woman as she becomes the target of a relentless stalker, their presence a constant shadow in her life. It begins with the feeling of being watched, a prickling sensation on the back of her neck, the unsettling certainty that she is not alone. She quickens her pace, her heart pounding in her chest as she scans her surroundings, searching for the source of her unease. Fleeting glimpses of a shadowy figure, always lurking just out of sight, fuel her fear, confirming her worst suspicions. The fear becomes a suffocating weight, her once familiar surroundings transformed into a landscape of fear and paranoia. Chapter 10. The Missing Person Case. In a quiet suburban town, a young woman vanishes without a trace, leaving behind unanswered questions and a community gripped by fear. The investigation reveals unsettling clues, strange messages, unfamiliar numbers, and a chilling note hinting at a dark secret. Evidence suggests she was being stalked before her disappearance. Witnesses report a suspicious individual, painting a picture of a lurking predator. The case remains unsolved, a chilling reminder of hidden dangers in our communities. Chapter 11. The Campground. A group of friends embarks on a weekend camping trip seeking solace in nature, unaware of the lurking darkness. Strange noises and the feeling of being watched unsettle them. Their laughter echoes through the trees as they gather around the campfire. But as night falls, a sense of dread descends. Shadows dance at the edge of the firelight, shattering their carefree facade. Utra, good night. These stories serve as a chilling reminder that danger can lurk in the most unexpected places, and sometimes the biggest threat comes from those we least expect. Thank you for joining me tonight as we explored the dark side of human nature, delving into the unsettling world of stalkers and strangers with sinister intentions. Sleep well, if you can, and remember, always be aware of your surroundings, trust your instincts, and never be afraid to reach out for help if you feel threatened or unsafe.